Hi guys, this is the host and producer of the Many Faces of the Able podcast, as well as the founder of the Able blog, Jessica Niziolek. Now, I told you guys that our first themed show was also going to be a co-hosting position with my moderator from the Many Faces of the Able Facebook group, Chris. Unfortunately, due to a scheduling conflict right now, he's not going to be able to co-host. He did, however, send me the answers to his interview questions that I sent him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of dictate that interview to you guys today. And Chris sends his apologies. We will work on a future show together as he co-hosts with me like we originally planned. It just won't happen right now because our schedules haven't been able to match. So let's jump right into it, guys. The theme show for today was I was going to personally ask Chris his personal experience, work experience I should say, while he has the disability of cerebral palsy and what that's like for him. And I gave him totally 10 questions to answer, and he sent them to me this weekend, and I just want to go through each question and answer with you guys. And again, if anybody would like to co-host with me, please feel free to reach out, either on the Anchor FM app if you have a podcast yourself here, through the messaging feature on here, or through our blog at https://seetheable.blogspot.com. We have several ways to contact me through that, including Facebook Messenger and a contact form. Just put within the contact information that you would like to co-host a show. Please know that we do not take straightforward political or religious topics, so if you're only a show or platform that deals in those topics, I highly suggest you look somewhere else, because we do not do that due to personal views on that subject. If we do highlight a topic linked to that, I will tell you why we're highlighting it and so on. Alright guys, let's jump right into it. The first question I asked him was, can you give our audience a little background about you and your disability? And here is his answer. I have cerebral palsy, and it impacts my work. Impacts me work-wise because I use a walker, and I cannot physically stand for long periods of time without getting exhausted. So I have to look for jobs that allow me to sit down and work, for example, at a computer. And then the second question I asked him, do you feel the overall atmosphere of the work environment, whether positive or negative, can put more emphasis on physical aspects of your disability? If yes, can you share the experiences with us? I feel the work environment can play a huge factor on my physical disability. For example, when I worked at Disney, it was 90-degree plus humidity. When it gets too hot or too cold, I can get exhausted faster. To combat this, I asked for a reasonable accommodation to drink Gatorade or lemonade while I was outside so I wouldn't get heat exhaustion, or when possible to work in an indoor area with air conditioning. Now, let me just explain that to everyone, what that really means. When you have cerebral palsy, you use your energy, your physical energy, 3 times more as the average person without a disability, because we're combating our muscles to move when they don't want to move. Typically, when a brain isn't brain damaged by this disability, you can just send a message to your brain and say, move my right foot, and your right foot moves. However, when it's affected by the lack of oxygen that happens due to a stroke before or thereafter birth, like it does with this condition, it can affect things like our coordination and our muscles. So think of it as wearing bungee cords. You send the message to your brain to move my leg, but the leg doesn't get the message because it's not properly computered. So you're fighting against the bungee cord. So every time you move your leg, the bungee cord snaps back and puts it back in place. So because we use 3 times more energy simply moving, physically moving, our bodies can also break down. We can also start seeing issues with arthritis, joint pain, things like that. So it can be very, very difficult and painful. And unlike the typical body where a tighter muscle is a stronger muscle, for someone with CP, a tighter muscle means a weaker muscle. So eventually things start to break down there too. It doesn't mean we still can't use our bodies to an extent like we're usually able to, unless it affects our entire body and our ability to speak and whatnot. That's the most severe case of CP. But we do have limitations that we need to tell other people about, especially in the employment field, so that they're not blindsided or panic, and then we end up losing our job because they think we're some sort of a liability. I just wanted to clarify that. All right, question number 3. The main, hold on. Question number 3 was, what lesson and or life skill did you learn while you were on the job that has stuck with you today? And he said, the main don'ts I have for listeners is don't give up. You may get rejected 10 or 20 times, but if you keep applying and trying, you will get hired. It takes time. Don't make the interview all about your disability. Tell the employer about what qualifies you, such as I'm outgoing, I have customer service skills, I'm dependable, etc. Don't make promises you can't keep or deliver on. For example, don't tell an employer, I'm available to work weekends if you don't have transportation to get there. Again, let me clarify something. Not every person with a disability will be unable to do something that another person can. For example, someone who is a quadriplegic versus someone with disability may be able to drive. However, for my case, my type of cerebral palsy and the severe spasticity I have, as well as the startle reflex, I know that I'm unable to drive. Now, for Chris's case, he's also unable to drive. So that means we have to rely on other services for transportation. So this makes the employment field a lot more narrower for those that have transportation issues or rely on public services such as public transportation, a cab, or some sort of bus service that people with disabilities have no choice to use. One, the time is probably not reliable. You wait more than you actually use it. They hike up the prices in some way, so if you need to take it 5 days a week and every other weekend, and you're restrained by your income because of the fact that you have bills to pay and because of the fact that, Social Security only allows you so much, or maybe you're taking a hit on your Social Security or SSDI because you are working. There's so many factors linked to this particular problem for somebody that doesn't have the mobility to get into a car and drive it. I cannot tell you, but that is my personal experience as well as Chris's. Number 3, I asked him, I'm sorry, I think we're at number 5 now. What are some do's that you can advise our listeners to do during applying for interviewing for a job in the process? And he said, I deal with rejection by asking for advice. For example, how can I improve for my next interview? Most of the time they take notes, and most will be happy to tell you and ask. I'm not sure what this means as discrimination. I asked for the supervisor and Palsy talk to them and number for the corporate office and email address someone in charge. So that means if he deals with someone who answers a question they know legally they're not obliged to ask, he just take the appropriate steps to follow up and say, hey, you can't say this, it's illegal, it's against the law, ADA and whatnot. The 6th question I asked him, how do you that was number 6, I'm sorry guys. With the current situation of the pandemic currently happening, what are some things you learned about yourself as a person that is currently improving to help strengthen your current work skills? Okie dokie. So his answer for this was, the pandemic showed me that working from home was the better option for me because I don't have to worry about transportation, and I just have to worry about my internet connection. You can get customer service jobs at Disney or Amazon, for example, that are work at home, and nobody has to know you have a disability. That is very true. There are a lot of pluses with work at home positions. However, a lot of them have contracts, so if you have a 6-month contract and they let you go, that means the interviewing process, applying process starts all over for you guys. If you get a position where they offer you to continue either part-time or full-time, you need to let them know about your situation regarding SSDI or SSI if you're on it. Even if it's a temporary situation, they need to know. Number 8 was, how has the pandemic negatively impacted your working skills? And Chris's response was, the biggest resource I found was from my local Center for Independent Living. They have a disability support group that helped me cope with my disability and I go once per month. They are awesome. We talk about coping with lost independence due to the pandemic and disability benefits, positive coping strategies, etc., helping me stay centered and grounded. These groups are fantastic. Also, if you can't, like I said, physically get out during a pandemic, there are now probably more of these groups online that you can join. I would do a search on Facebook, do a search on LinkedIn. You never know where you can find support. Just be very cautious about the information you share regarding personal information, personal details about your life, things like that. Be guarded because it is online and you don't know who is who. So just for your own safety, use precaution and use your gut. If something doesn't feel right within a group, leave. But then that's also another great networking tool for people that have the inability to get out especially as things are being lifted still, and a lot of people are struggling because now they don't know how to do what they did before because they're so used to being restricted within a pandemic. So the last one was, what are some final thoughts and advice you would like to leave our listeners with today? And he goes the following. Chris says the following. My final thoughts are, don't sell yourself short. You can get a job or anything else you want in life if you don't give up on yourself or your dreams. 2, don't have any regrets in life and live life to the fullest. 3, don't be afraid to ask for help, whether it be from a Department of Rehabilitation or the Ticket to Work program or other assistance you need to use the resources available to you. Learn something new every day. Life is a learning experience. Well, that was very, very eye-opening. And I want to thank Chris for sharing that, his work experience with all of us here today and with me. I do hope in the near future we will be able to actually do a co-hosting position together. We will work on our schedules eventually and get that done, I promise you guys. But for now, check out this new episode. It'll come out next Monday. I'm doing a little at a time so that I can edit it in between it and get it ready for next Monday. Monday it will go up on the YouTube channel. Then following that Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, it will be on all the platforms that our episodes are on regarding the Many Faces of the Able podcast. So that means here on Anchor FM, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Google and any other listening device or streaming device you use. So just search the Many Faces of the Able podcast, look for the yellow and blue icon, subscribe and like, and leave us comments on what you would like to hear next or see next within our channel. We're also on YouTube as well. Just search the Many Faces of the Able podcast or the Able blog, look for the yellow and blue icon, and we're right there. Or look for my screenshot videos as well. All of it's right there on YouTube. We're on every single channel, guys, except for Snapchat regarding social media. And again, the blog itself, the Able blog, is at https://seetheable.blogspot.com. So if you're interested in co-hosting a show with me, don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know, and I will send you the correct forms to fill out and give you a response within 24 or 48 hours of getting the forms back, regardless of whether or not you're going to do a show with me. Thank you guys. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.